Go apps! Fight apps! Go! Fight! Kick ass! Hello Frenzy, my name is Kate Shark and welcome to another story time. I haven't done these in a while, one of these in a while. It's been, wow, I think it's been just under a year or something like that. I think almost a year. The last one I did was the one about the prom stories I shared. And this one I was actually going to do last year, but it was kind of a hard time to do this story, mainly because there was a lot of school shootings going on, and I thought it would be a bit insensitive to talk about this a bit. God only knows what'll happen between now and by the time I post this, but I'm not, please know I'm not downgrading or anything like that. School shootings or anything like that. It's very scary and something definitely needs to be done. But I thought I'd share this little story about this one time in college. So here we go. It was March 3rd, 2008. I was a junior in college. We're in my third year in college if you're not American. And it was actually a Monday, and I had, like, the one night I had a damn night class. I got stuck in a night class that I had. I went to Appalachian State University, which is a college in the small town of Boone, North Carolina. It's very much a college town. It's a great town, lots of real fun place to go to school. And you may, if the name sounds kind of familiar, you may remember them back in 2007 with this little upset.
The call.
Ready. Snap good. The whole the kick. Oh! The kick is good. The Mountaineers are going to try to take it back to the big house. 30, 20, 15. Wow! The Mountaineers have just beaten the Michigan Wolverines.
Yeah, that was us. It was actually one right before all this happened, like the semester before. So, March 3rd was a Monday. I went to class, and our school had actually just implemented this new emergency warning system. Now, you have to remember, this was, oh my God, this was 11 years ago. So back then, school shootings weren't a thing. You know, back then we only had, the only two big school shootings we had ever had were Columbine, and oh my God, Columbine's 20 years old this year. Jesus. We had Columbine, and then we had the Virginia Tech shooting. And that was about it. You didn't really have any other incidences aside from that. So our school decided to implement a sort of emergency system to where if there was an emergency on campus, you could be notified through email or through a telephone call or through text message. And I remember that day, because I saw it and thought, oh, that's a good idea, I should sign up, and you could sign your parents up for it. So I put my parents on the list and put me on the list just in case. And later that day, we had actually gotten a notification that there had been an armed gunman seen on campus. And a lot of us honestly thought that it was actually just like a way to test the system because it was brand new and they wanted to make sure it worked. But I went to class that evening and was told by our instructor, or our professor, whatever you call him, that no, in fact, there had been a armed gunman had been seen on campus, and that we were, that the campus was on lockdown, and that as soon as so they locked us in that classroom, and we tried to keep a calm head and try to get through class, but there was always that looming threat that someone on campus had a gun and they could possibly be trying to hurt us. Because again, Columbine and Virginia Tech, and that's what we knew of school shootings. If someone had a gun on campus, they were going to fire. And it was a scary time. I mean, we even heard helicopters circling overhead on campus. So, you know, I think at one point someone actually looked out the window and you could see helicopters circling around trying to get visuals and whatnot. So it was a pretty scary time.
You're looking live now at pictures coming to us from the campus of Appalachian State University. The university has put all of its campus buildings on lockdown, urging students and staff to stay away from an area near campus. A masked gunman was reported there with a gun. No shots have been fired. No one hurt there. This is all as a precaution. We know there are several students from Raleigh, this viewing area, who attend Appalachian State. We want to keep you apprised of this, and we'll have updates on our website throughout the year.
So apparently what had happened was a local student said he came to his off-campus apartment, which is actually right off of, literally right off campus, came home, found his door broken in, and he saw an armed burglar in his apartment. And, well, this is what he says.
At Matthew Haney's off-campus apartment, you can see signs of a robbery he walked in on.
All I did was, as soon as I saw that gun, I just ran.
Haney says the man ran too, through the woods toward campus. Administrators at App State say soon after, a student reported seeing the masked gunman at the dining hall.
So he says that the armed gunman the gunman ran onto campus in the direction of campus, and the description he gave was of like a 6-foot-tall Caucasian guy wearing a ski mask, also wearing a Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon t-shirt. And here's the thing, App is very much of, Boone's a pretty mellow place. There's a lot of hippie culture, retro stuff. So I'd say a good 75% of the student body has a Dark Side of the Moon t-shirt. So chances are you probably saw that very guy, a 6-foot-tall white guy wearing a Pink Floyd shirt. Was pretty obvious to anyone on campus. So several people had reported they had seen someone that matched the description. Surprise, surprise. So the lockdown went on for quite some time. I was doing research, and they were saying that the lockdown only lasted an hour, but it was much longer than that, because I remember the lockdown happened when I went to class, and that was a long class. It was like a 2-hour class, and it was still in effect after the class was supposed to be done. And the really scary thing was I was trying, once class was officially done, they said we couldn't leave yet because the campus was still under lockdown and they weren't going to let us go. And the scary thing was I was trying to call my family to let them know, because I knew it was all over the news, because we had seen reports of it online. I was trying to call my family to let them know I was fine, that I was okay. That I was on campus, but I was locked in a classroom, and as far as we knew, everyone was fine. But the problem was everyone on campus was trying to do that, so the cell towers got jammed. So it was impossible to get through. I tried calling both my parents. I tried calling my girlfriend at the time, who would later become my wife, to let her know. Could not get through for shit. And I know they were trying to get through to me. And somehow, by some luck, I ended up getting my sister, and I had, I don't know how I got through to her, but I was able to somehow catch her, and I told her, just let mom know I'm okay, I'm safe, nothing, no, I'm not hurt or anything. We're hoping to get the lockdown lifted pretty soon. So, there's that. And lo and behold, so finally they declare he must have run off, whatever. So they lift it. We get out, and I'm able to finally go home.
I wasn't really thinking about anything other than, I'm glad I'm safe.
And next day, turns out it was all a lie. That the guy who came home and found the armed gunman actually, the story was that he came home and found the door broken, and he was afraid he was going to get in trouble. So he made up the story of finding a burglar. And because of that, it all just kind of got out of hand. Well, needless to say, that didn't pan over too well, because it caused quite a scare, and it was filing a false police report. The real kicker was he was 2 months from graduation, like almost to the day, like 2 months away from graduation, and he was kicked out of school. I think he got charged with, like, so he actually was, I think he was arrested, I don't know, and charged with filing a false police report and causing all this. The school ended up saying that he was released due for his own safety. But we're all pretty sure I'm sure that was part of it. My wife wasn't too happy with him at the time, and there's a lot of people who weren't happy at all with the situation, and it's completely understandable. My thing was, it's like, why didn't you just come home and say, hey, I found my door kicked in, looks like someone tried to break into the house. I mean, at the very least, you don't get your deposit back, and honestly, it's not the end of the world. So yeah, that's my little story about way back, or one of my stories from college. Unfortunately, luckily, I'm very fortunate that it was actually a hoax, that it wasn't real, that nobody got hurt. Which is ironic enough because like quite a few years later, my sister was in college, and they had a similar instance happen on her campus where apparently an armed gunman was on campus and they put them in lockdown. And they never found the guy or anything like that. And as far as I know, it wasn't a hoax. But that's weird. I never really thought about that before, but it's a weird coincidence. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this story. If you want to hear more, see more storytime videos like this, be sure to chomp down on that like button, or let me know if you have any suggestions for other ones or other video games that you'd like to see me play. Share this channel with your friends and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already to see other videos that I've done. We'll see you all for the next one.